Okay, it's been a while since I've played this, but let's try to figure out. I don't remember what I fucking play. Let's try to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I don't remember what I grabbed you. I don't remember how to play. Yeah, it's really fucking long way. That's how you grab shit. I just don't understand really. I swear to you that was not there. That was not there. I swear to you that was not there. That was not there before when I did this. Well, it's now. We're on our way to whatever lies next.
Hello, my name is Martin Kendler. I'm a 3D artist and level creator at fictional games. I started out as a helper during Penumbra Overture, and was finally hired as a full-time artist in the later part of Penumbra Black Plague.
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
entrance hall was first shown in our first gameplay trailer, and while the layout hasn't changed much, the details certainly have. You build our levels from sets of pieces, in this case, the custom-based set. While the carefully planned set pieces made level building very easy, the levels became very similar, and we had to make special pieces to the levels. Now, 1.5 years later, the special pieces make up about half those pieces in the custom-based set, and we made changes to incorporate these objects into the earlier levels. An example of this can be seen if you compare the hole in the roof now with the one from the first trailer. The new roof was made in the middle of the project, when you built level 9 back hall. A special version was made to give the roof hole in the entrance hall more depth and detail.
Scattered throughout the game, you can see some signs written in Latin. The reason for using it is that it was considered a language of culture and science, as most scientific and philosophy authors wrote their works and treatises in it. As we are dealing with a castle dwelled by a pretty smart guy that has been around since the Renaissance period, Latin all around the place was something we should expect. Being the only guy in the team that had a direct contact with Latin, in high school to be more precise, well, it was kind of logical that any translation to be done would have my name on it. Translating stuff into Latin was kind of strange and fantastic to do. At first I had a classic Latin dictionary. If I had to translate any modern term, I would have to track its etymology down to the Latin equivalent, or look for a synonym or similar expression that had a direct translation. Then I had the luck to come across some dictionary for modern stuff online that addressed most of this stuff for a huge lot of terms, so it couldn't have come in a better time. Some days I would have Sebastian dropping a list of 9 or so entries to be translated, and before finding this dictionary, it was quite a lot of work. On a side note, we even had a choose your Latin poll on a couple entries, just to pick the one that sounded better for everyone. Results were pretty unanimous, by the way. For some final words on this, I must confess that, while I was pretty good at this in high school, that was like 15 years ago. So right now I'm not 100% sure translations are correct at all, but I took the time to make them at least plausible. So my apologies go in advance to any Latin guru up there playing the game, as I myself get on the verge of losing my temper when I see stuff like this obviously made up. If you haven't followed our development blog back when it started, you might have missed one of the biggest changes in our production pipeline. 2 years back, we started a toolset side project to ease and speed up the creation of content for the game. I'd say the level editor, which is what we, or more specifically James, Mark and Marcus, have used to build all the halls and corridors you are working through right now, is the big start of the pack. Its workings in a nutshell, while all the models and assets are actually made in software like Maya or Blender, everything geometry-wise in the levels is put together in it. Then lighting and sweet details like decals and fog are added in. While this approach might sound simple, really nice stuff can come out from it, as you can see in the game.
Okay. Now that they're done talking, I have no idea where to go. Ew. Not there. Definitely not there. There's a way to go down here. That's more of that goofy shit.
This is one of the many hub levels in the game, and this is a design concept that we started out with in Penumbra. The idea is to give the player some freedom on where to go, but at the same time give a clear objective. In this level, the slime obstacle is a thing that the player needs to get past, and all our levels then have things needed to do so. The slime itself is one of the few puzzles left from the initial designs, and the one I'm probably the least proud of. Now that slime appears all around, it feels a bit forced that you need to have a potion on the slime. Many testers also complained that they wanted other options in getting rid of the slime, like burning it. However, creating a potion is the central theme for this hub, so we had to let it be. I don't think it's that bad, but we probably could have redesigned it if we had time.
lab doors open. Figured.
Particle editor is also a fine part of the tool bundle, and it is what we use to create particle effects for maps and events. We use particles to do nice effects like the flames in torches and the smoke that comes out from them. All we have to do is add one or more particle emitters, set up some parameters like starting position and speed, on all sorts of fadings in size, color, or speed. It's funny how you can simulate all kinds of effects with such simple elements. I very much recommend you to try it yourself.
Lack of a chimney to properly vent the fumes from my most recent experiments against toll made it my less stable ingredients in storage. Some seem unaffected. Many are strained by the fumes and will be difficult to salvage. I shall do what I can and move them to the wine cellar.
In early concepts, this was meant to be a sort of wine testing room and directly connected to the wine cellar. The reason for the whole wine testing thingy was that we planned on having more laboratories in layer levels, so a lab here as well felt kind of strange. Then things changed, and only one lab was left in the design, so we changed the name to laboratory instead. The whole wine testing facility got to make dangerous acid always felt kind of strange anyways.
This is my third attempt to produce artificial latte. The former compound lacked the potency I need, but I sense I'm close. Calamine and orpiment are given, and the cupriate binds them well. This time I will attempt aqua regia instead of aqua fortis and hope it will produce a more even solution. Experiment was successful. The solution is highly acid and proves impractical to put to any use except as a detergent. Organic tissue reacts especially violently to the solution, should be handled with the greatest care. I might be able to use a recipe, but I'm losing hope that we'll find an alchemic solution to my predicament. What are they telling the story of? These little parts, I wonder.
To finish this little overview of our tools, I must mention the Material Editor, available both standalone and built into the other editor. The program itself is very simple to use. You have some material types defined by the engine, and you can throw in textures to be used for diffuse, normal maps, height maps, as well as some variables to control specific parameters for a material type. When I was writing it, I could just stare while the preview model rotated around itself and the parallax mapping effect was on when testing, just for fun.
16th of May, 1839. The unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk. How Professor Herbert managed to find the location in these vast plains of nothingness remains a mystery to me. When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach it.
Damn it. Sorry. I was trying to go back. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark cold night. Tomorrow I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
Another piece of the toolset is a model editor, used to create the entities you are interacting with while playing. Basically, we take a model and set up some parameters like physical bodies, joints, and user-defined variables. We can also attach sub-entities to them, like lights, particle systems. When an entity is finally set up, is ready to be placed in a level using the level editor. Examples of entities here are doors, lamps, more furniture, printers.
17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write. I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger. Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off whatever lay ahead. I gave the order to raise it, and as I pushed through the narrow space, the heavy stone suddenly dropped, sealing me inside. I was trapped.
This level was changed a lot, and I think it's one of the most tweaked levels that we got. Not only was it part of the big archives level that we had to split up, but it was also hard to get it engaging enough. The problem here is that we don't have any sort of fun mechanics that rely on to make the game engaging. Instead, we rely on story, atmosphere, and environments. This is true for many other levels and the game as a whole, but these were kind of one of the larger levels that we made, and also one that didn't have much puzzles and such. So when testing it, we quickly get bored with it, and we wanted to add more spooky events to spice it up. But then later on, testing proved that these events weren't that necessary, and we also felt that they were a bit lame and not fitting, so we decided to remove them. Then the back part of the level, we wanted to make that a more linear experience, with the current player getting trapped and all, forcing the player to solve the destroy wall and find secret door puzzles. Previously, testers often missed that they can solve these problems. The level is now very different from the early designs.
When I started writing, I had only outlined the framework for the story and the first few levels in the game design document, so I ended up finalizing a lot of material for the first levels, and then when those were done, we went down the last two thirds. This had a funny effect since I had to not only cater to the story, but to stay true to the stuff I had written for the first levels. Usually you can go back and forth while writing and change things, but if you have already recorded voices, you really shouldn't because of the costs. So the first text really shaped the rest of the material in an interesting way, and made them matter in a way I hadn't thought about. I really like how this thickens the story elements, as I am able to jump back into the material and keep using and reinforcing certain concepts. Agrippa is of course the most extreme effect of this method, which grew from a small reference to becoming one of the most important characters in the game.
May 1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer. My weakened body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light. It was waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light. I reached out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety. Grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
The castle is old and hasn't been tended to for centuries. When the shadow arrives, it won't take long until things start falling apart.
We're just buying time anyway. Let's do what we can.
There isn't much to be done about the walls. We should reinforce weak structures. The ground will tremble and there's a risk everything will cave in on us, especially downstairs. Here, and there. Let's get the servants working on it. You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
Alstadt and Brennenburg Castle, 1801. Another region rich with lore is Alstadt. Deep within the East Prussian woods, for centuries there have been stories surrounding Castle Brennenburg. The quiet, forest-clad mountains dressed with scattered lakes is picturesque as can be, albeit the area is haunted by the dark. Ask any local and you will hear proof of the widespread superstition of travelers should indulge themselves in such conversations, since it will certainly serve as an exciting entertainment, all of which have their own twists on the tale, but there are some motives that keep reappearing. They gather. This story reaches all the way back to the time of the 30 Years' War. It said that the soldiers who abandoned duty got lost in the cold, dark woods and were forever damned to roam the grounds. Bodies wrought by their tainted souls have left them disfigured. In essence, many have cited them over the years and described them as hordes reverends. They move silently through the woods, shying away from a beholder. The cult gathers as they seem to follow some ambition to steal living creatures. It is their prey which can be heard struggling inside damp burlap sacks, dragged behind them, which reveal their presence. What dark scheme do they follow? Visit undone. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, a well-known Etrud, visited Alstadt at the start of the 16th century. He resided in the local inn for a fortnight as he looked for remnants of kingdoms past. During his stay, all the prominent members of society paid notice that he's mentioned in many records of the time. One day he went to investigate a burrow in the northwestern glades, only to never be seen again. Heinrich is known to have passed away in Grenoble some 10 years later. He's been the notion of ever visiting Alstadt, which makes you wonder what really happened. Who was this mysterious man who visited the sleepy hamlet in the woods, and what happened to him? The immortal Baron. The Baron of Brandenburg lives a reclusive life with his family at his castle nearby Alstadt, and like most of those noble birth, rumors are inherited alongside with the title. Researching the history reveals little before the castle was consumed by fire in the late 16th century. It's rebuilt by Alexander, a nobleman from the Rhinelands, claiming the walls to protect the Prussian state. Alexander helped the region to flourish and remain popular throughout his presumed lifetime. It has always been secretive when it comes to lineage and heritage. Therefore, the birth and death of Alexander and his offspring have never been fully recorded. This has fed the idea that the Baron is in fact the one and the same who came from the west over 300 years ago, lived through the time of occupation, and joined the coveted Order of the Black Eagle, all with great leaders of this country. sounds were, but whoa! Why am I getting fucked up?
A major design guideline for us was to give each level a unique theme, something that all puzzles, events, and the general atmosphere was built upon. This makes each level a little piece of the story and theme at large, and also gives them focus so the player is not distracted with too much information. The theme in this level is the strange creatures that lurk in the castle. The player first spots them momentarily in archives, so now is the perfect place to build some fear. There is never any real threat in this level, but it's much darker than any before, and there's a constant pressure with boards creaking in the light. The flashbacks also give hints of where strange creatures come from, making all events focused on the level's central theme.
Hello, I'm Jens Nilsson, co-founder of Frictional Games. I work mainly with the sound, gameplay and event scripting in Amnesia. For my commentary in this game, I'll jump back and forth between the topics of sound, puzzle creation, and even talk about making this commentary.
Closing in.
The basic structure of the earlier levels in the game has been built by me. I have not created the models or anything like that, but I have built the levels with the graphics from the artists using our level editor. This was the very reason for us to create the level editor, as it would allow for the whole team to work on levels, building them from scratch if so needed. For our previous Penumbra games, you could perhaps tweak a level a little bit, but making a whole level was the job for an artist and no one else. In the early days of the Amnesia project, the artists had their hands full with making graphics, and so I was the one building the levels. Looking at the levels now, a lot of things have changed and improved, but the base is still there. Showing that the idea to create the level editor was a sound one of the few things, in fact, with the Amnesia project that has not been scrapped, reworked, or modified heavily.
My name is Wilhelm, House of Giric. These are my final words, my confession and testament. 2 years ago I was summoned to Castle Brennenburg to me as most of the aristocracy. I was curious about what this supposed knight of the order would want from me and accepted the invitation. The Baron was friendly and offered me a proposition. It dawned on me that the nature of the contract was sordid, and that the reason I was chosen was because of the follies of my past and not the honors I've been rewarded with during my time as a soldier. I was to kidnap healthy humans upon his slightest whim, do so without questions. In return, he would attest to my character at the royal court and to my position within noble society. I would like to claim that I struggled with my decision, but it came swiftly and I accepted wholeheartedly. Ever since that day, I've brought men, women, and children to Brandenburg. I can't remember the numbers, but there were many, perhaps even 100, none of whom were ever seen or heard from again. Tonight, the Baron invited me and my men down to the wine cellar to celebrate our work and my suspicion as we descend the stairs. But he insists and joins us in a toast. The wine tasted fine, and my men drank without restraint. So, being as a punishment for our sins, the Baron has locked us up and returned upstairs. Forgive me for what I have done. I was weak and fell into his diabolical ways. My men are screaming. Their skin has been pierced by their own tangled bones. Feel my insides revolt against their God-given nature. Blood is beginning to pour from my eyes, and I can no longer see. Probably. on. Alright, so I'm gonna save and exit for now because I have to head off to bed, but that's my second video for Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Weird game. Definitely weird. It's definitely more psychological than any horror game I remember playing, so it's definitely going to take some getting used to, especially since I just got off a high of playing God of War 3, but anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.